I am popping in to just speak about book titles. It's so very important, and it's also something authors agonize over for so long in the book writing process. So I had a real giggle yesterday. I've been working with an author for about 3 years on his book, and it's been iteration after iteration of the title. We've had lists of 20, we've had our top three, we've had our top two. It's been late night nightmares for the author, and sharing it on Facebook, on social media, which is the better, which is the one which you buy. And we got all the way to the design phase, and suddenly there was the title on the cover of the book, and we both looked at it and we went, doesn't work. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a brand new title came up, and it worked completely and beautifully on the image that was behind the title. So that's really important to remember, that as much as we want this to be exciting, it's also going to be on the cover of a book. So a title is really important because it does a few things. Firstly, it grabs a reader's attention. But the more important thing that a title does is it tells a reader what to expect in the book. I've just been through a series of meetings with publishers, pitching some of my authors, and we really spoke about titles because authors can come up with sexy titles that sound really good and they look fantastic, but they bear no relation to the content of your book. So when you're thinking about the final book title, think about, does this spell out in detail what the book is about? I want you to remember the book covers in the nonfiction realm have two things. They have a title and a subtitle. So the title grabs the reader's attention, and the subtitle clarifies and specifies exactly what they are going to get in that read. So then the other thing to really remember and hold on to is that books are sold online. What does that mean for your title? It means when somebody is looking for a book, the chances are they're on a very small device, potentially. It's a tiny thumbnail, and what they're looking for is words that pop. So my rule of thumb at the moment is 3 big, strong words on the cover of a title. And this is a visual thing, right? And even if your book is in the bookshop, you want to be able to see. This could be in reverse for you. I don't know. Look at this. Okay. Immediately we know what this book's about. History's Greatest Hits. Subtitle: Famous Events we should all know more about. Bingo. It's an invitation. Do I want to know about this? If I don't, I'm going to move on and choose another book on the bookshelf. So again, here's my book, Love and Above. I want you to just notice how big. So we often say it's over half of the cover of the book. I actually like to say it's 2/3 usually. So in this instance, it's definitely 2/3. So you're going to start to see the size of font, how we don't want a long title. I want to show you how something like this just doesn't work because we can't see it on a bookshop. It's not going to grab our attention. And equally, I want to remind you that in the novel realm, we are working with a similar concept here, a background image that sets the tone, that speaks of the genre, that speaks of the story inside, but big, strong title, 2 novels. Woo, how do I do this? And still stay in the camera. And I want you to notice, oh my goodness. Okay, look at this big wording. And of course, notice in the Harlan Coben book how his name is actually bigger than the title, because we don't care what he writes. We will read anything. We'll read anything Harlan Coben writes. We'll write anything, read anything, some of our big name favorite authors write. So we start to see what is important to the reader. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about making it smaller. I want you to think about, is it visible from across the room? Can somebody read it on a tiny screen? And does it spell out exactly what I'm offering the reader in this moment? And they know what they're getting. Of course, we know the next step. This is just, it's like a male bird, a peacock flashing its tail. The second the reader picks up the book, they want to engage in more information. And what they're going to do immediately is they're going to do this. This is our buying patterns. They're going to read the back, where we want really that incredibly succinct, tight back cover blurb that tells our reader and clarifies exactly what they're going to find in this book. Because frankly, time's too short to waste reading a book that doesn't have what you're looking for. And I want to remind authors of that when people are going to buy a book, they're looking for something. It could be that they're looking for a fantastic holiday read to transport them while they're on the beach, or sit on their ski slopes. It could be they're looking for information, that they're looking for a diet, a quick fix, a training program, that they're looking for business leadership tips. So we are looking as readers for something when we buy a book, because books are expensive and we want something out of them. So remember that. Make sure you're delivering the title, the subtitle, that cover blurb, and then, of course, what's the inside of the book, the data, the story. Well, that's a conversation for another time. So keep writing, and I will save this on YouTube so you can really start to work with your book titles, your book covers, and make them as tight as possible by the time the book's actually on the shelf.